Peace, family. Peace. I hope everybody is doing well. This is the next installment in my zodiac series that I embarked on the journey of doing. And we are now on the earth signs. We've gotten to the earth signs. So we started out with fire. I started out with Sagittarius, Leo, and then Aries. Moved on to water. We did Pisces. And we've done, hold on, let me go back and see what all we've done. We've done Pisces. Last night we did Cancer. And now we're moving on to, and we did Taurus. So we did Pisces, Cancer, and Taurus. And now we're moving on to Team Virgo. Team Virgo. Oh my goodness. That's why I had to get polished today. I had to put on a little bit of face paint and or AKA makeup, and get polished to show you guys, just give you an example of how you would prepare for your date with your Virgo. So yeah, definitely Virgo, just to give you guys a little bit of information about Virgo as it refers to the astrology of it. Virgo is ruled by the 6th house, and that is the house of health, so physical health. And it can also be physical health, mental health, just maintaining and the upkeep of your health. So it is ruled by the 6th house, and its ruling planet is Mercury. Mercury, which is the planet of communication. Now, the way that Virgo is a little bit different from its sister planet, well, its sister sign that is also ruled by Mercury, which is Gemini. Virgo is more about communication on the written side, whereas Gemini is more along the lines of verbal communication, so how I verbalize my communication to others. Whereas Virgo is about acquiring information. I'm getting information, very analytical sign. I'm gaining information for like written communication or communication that is non-verbalized. So that's the difference between Gemini and Virgo, even though they are both ruled by Mercury, which is denotes communication. So that's just a little bit of information about Virgo. Now, of course, this can be if this is someone that you're interested in, because we're talking about how to snag a Virgo for life. So this, of course, means that there's someone that you're interested in that may have a sun, moon, or rising sign in Virgo. Now, of course, if you're new to astrology and you don't really know a lot about it, your sun sign is very important. However, your whole chart is just as essential in an astrologer being able to really break down and give you some insight. So, of course, the person's sun sign is really important. But at the same time, I would encourage you to get a little bit more in depth. I would encourage you to go to websites like astro.com, where you can just enter your birth date. You can enter your exact time of birth and the geologic location of where you were born, and it will populate a natal chart, a free natal chart for you. Now, of course, with the natal chart, you would need to have an astrologer or someone who is versed in astrology just to kind of look over it for you, or you could try to do it yourself, however you want to do that. But yeah, I'm going over the sun signs because of the fact that I think it's a good way for people to kind of get their feet wet with astrology, and then you can go from there on your journey to finding out more information. So I'm going to answer the questions at the end. I do see someone said Virgo and Virgo, are they compatible? That's a great question. I'm going to get into that in one moment. First, I'm going to start with, I had started with a good idea for a first date if you're interested in a Virgo. Some things that I was thinking about are places like maybe like an art exhibit. because of the fact that's going to kind of tune into that Virgo's natural analytical side, to give them something to kind of impress you by how much they know about art, or how they can tell you about their perception of what they see. Because again, this is a very, organized, very analytical person that we're talking about, highly intelligent. Typically Virgos are really intelligent people. So like an art exhibit, or maybe to the theater. And when I'm talking about theater, I'm not talking about the movie theater, I'm talking about to a play. So something where, and then not only that, guys, that takes some of the pressure off of Virgo, because Virgo is already very, mind you, with that analytical nature, a lot of times they tend to be very analytical of themselves. So to take some of that pressure off of your Virgo person of interest, take them somewhere where it's not just the focus on you guys alone somewhere, and they have to, all that worry and all that that self-critical, that thought that's going on in their head is kind of quieted down, because now you guys are focusing on this art, or you guys are focusing on the play that you're watching. And then, after the play, you can go sit down and have dinner together and have conversations about it. So Virgo gets to kind of show you and tell you, show you their, intelligence. Remember that Mercury kicking in there, that communication, like I'm able to, even though they're more along the lines of written, they can still verbalize very well. So a couple good ideas for first dates with Virgos, if there's somebody that you're interested in. I have art exhibits, or any type of exhibit, an attraction, a concert, or the theater, to go to see a play. So those are some examples that I have. So the first tip that I can give you, if you are interested in a Virgo, a handsome Virgo man or a beautiful Virgo woman, is to have a strong sense of work ethic. Because Virgos are extremely self-disciplined people. These are typically very self-motivated people, and you kind of have to match or beat that with them in that way, or prepare to be, I put lovingly picked apart. Okay, guys? So you kind of have to be on the same level of self-discipline, or a level of discipline with Virgo, or else your Virgo is going to start to pick you, because they're very critical of themselves already. They're already like their biggest critic. A Virgo is already a Virgo's biggest critic. Perfect example, one of my favorite Virgos to watch is Beyonce. And in a lot of interviews, she often tells people, the journalists that interview her, that she doesn't compare herself to anyone else, because she is her own critic, as in she watches her shows. Like, she'll do a show and immediately she'll go into whatever green room or whatever and watch the show that she just did and take notes and, be writing down, well, I should have did that. I want to do this differently. I want to do this dancer was off by 2 steps. And another really famous Virgo who was very, very dotted every I and crossed every T, that's a performer and entertainer, was Michael Jackson as well. Perfectionist, you could say. So this is just to give you an idea of the way that Virgo thinks. So if you're, a person that's interested, or maybe you're in a relationship with a Virgo, or maybe you're married to a Virgo, and you see that they have this high level of determination, this high level of motivation, my advice to you would be to make sure that your level of motivation is at the same pace, if not higher, because if not, that's when you start to see in relationships people starting to get unhappy, because, oh my goodness, they're never satisfied. The person that I'm with, the Virgo that I'm with, is never satisfied. They're always tearing me apart. They're always, telling me this, or, making me feel that I'm not this, that, and the third. So instead of having your Virgo to be that person to lovingly tear you apart and not tear you apart, but pick you apart and, tell you should be doing this and this would be better with that or whatever. You do it yourself. So take the initiative to become a more self-determined person, a more self-disciplined person in your relationship with Virgo. Or if you're interested in a Virgo, make sure that you're taking those steps. And a way to do that, just self-care, self-empowering yourself in whatever way. So if you're going to classes or something like that, or learning how to budget, or learning how to do whatever it is that you need to do to better yourself. So that's the first thing I have, is to have a strong work ethic. Number 2, I have appearance is everything. Appearances are very important to Virgos. Very important. Very polished people. Now, mind you, this does not mean that at home when they're just lounging around. I'm saying when they're out in the public eye. Appearance is very important to Virgo. Very rarely will you catch a Virgo just out and about that's not polished. In whatever way polished is for them. They're not the sign. They're not the sign that's going to just roll out of bed and just go to the grocery store with, a bonnet on, or, rollers in your hair, stuff like that. No, Virgo wants to be polished wherever they're going. If it's outside of their home, they're going to make sure that they are polished, they are to the T, and that's how they also, in turn, their partner, they can expect that from their partner as well. So I have appearance is everything. Virgos like to be polished in the public eye. Don't surprise them in ways that don't give them time to prepare, okay? Preparation is important to them. So when I say don't surprise them, I'm not saying that you can't have like a surprise dinner or something with friends and, but don't make it a constant thing. So let's say you wanted to surprise your Virgo by taking them out to go meet some friends at a restaurant or something immediately after they get off work. For a Virgo, that's going to cause them to have a little bit of anxiety, because it's like, oh, but I haven't freshened up, I still have my work clothes on, I didn't get a chance to beat my face or whatever. If it's a woman, for a man, I didn't get a chance to put my my nice clothes on. This is kind of so I'm not saying that Virgo cannot do it every once in a while, but don't make it a habit of taking them out of their element, of having time to prepare and having time to get their appearance to the level that Virgo likes to have it, in order for them to be comfortable in whatever setting that they're getting ready to go into. So give them time to prepare. Preparation is important to Virgo. So yes, next I have be knowledgeable. Okay, be knowledgeable. Although Virgo likes appearance, Virgo loves information. Virgo loves information. They like appearance. Appearance is important to Virgo, but information is everything to Virgo, okay? Whether it be how to network, if you are someone who knows someone and knows someone else in something, that they're interested in, Virgo is all about connecting those dots. Virgo is all about, whereas the fire signs, remember, I don't know if you guys remember with the fire signs, I said they are big picture thinkers. Earth signs are the details. Earth signs are detail oriented. They're the ones that go in and can dot the I's and cross the T's, but can fall into the category of being over analytical sometimes. So sometimes they analyze so much that they don't actually get whatever the project is done, because they get caught up in the details. They get lost in the details of it. So be knowledgeable. They love information. So be knowledgeable in the areas that interest your Virgo mate. So whatever your Virgo mate's interests are, you should know. You should know. Seriously. You should know whatever their interests are. You should know. You should be an authority on whatever your Virgo mate's interests are. You should be an authority. So if they like, let's say if it's your wife or your girlfriend, if your wife or girlfriend, your Virgo mate's interest is, fashion, or if it's I don't know, gardening or whatever it is, to impress them and to show them that you care and that you love them, and their interests are as important and valid to you as they are to them. You should know some things about that, especially if you're not in a relationship but you're interested. Okay, that's how you attract right there. So let's say this guy that you like, this Virgo guy that you like, he's interested in basketball, or he's interested in, in football, or he's a soccer player or something like that, because Virgos typically, they're going to be physical, because again, they're ruled by sixth house. Sixth house is health. So they tend to be active people. So ladies, guess what that means? You need to be learning about basketball, football, or soccer. Whatever that Virgo is interested in, that's how you get their attention, is making sure you are an authority. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you know a couple things, to kick off a conversation with a Virgo. Because, and when you kick off the conversation, make sure you actually done a little bit of research, because whereas with some people, you may be able to give the facade that you know something about it, not with Virgo. Because remember, I told you how they're really information-oriented people. So if you go in thinking that, you all are having a conversation about football, but you're giving them baseball terminology because you really don't know a lot about it, but you want to look smart, no. No, it might be cute. The Virgo may laugh, you never know. But I mean, actually do some research. So be knowledgeable about the things that interest the Virgo that you're interested in. And thank you, Aston. Thank you. Okay, and the next thing that I have is to not criticize but uplift. Now that's going to go into the question someone asked about Virgo and Virgo. My opinion, this is my opinion, as from what I've learned and studied and read about different astrology signs and compatibility. From what I've read, Virgo and Virgo can be problematic because of the fact that they're both so self-critical. They're both so they can both get caught up in the details. So if you have two mirrors, if you have two mirrors of each other, sometimes that can be problematic because they're both on the same wavelength. As far as if you don't have somebody, well, it depends on their natal chart. So it depends on the other signs and how they're working in their natal chart. I'm not saying Virgo and Virgo are not compatible. By no means am I saying that. I'm just saying I feel like with Virgo needs another sign in there, or if it is another Virgo, a Virgo that has a lot of other elements going on to balance that out, so that they don't get to the point where they're both so critical of not only themselves, but in reflection, because you know how that turns around. Sometimes we can be so self-critical of ourselves, but what do we end up doing? We end up projecting that onto the other person in the relationship that we're with, because we haven't identified it in ourselves. So if 23rd and 24th, okay, I would really need to look at your, the entire chart so I can see what's going on. But I'm not saying that it's not, Virgo and Virgo cannot work. All I'm saying is that with Virgo and Virgo, you would definitely want to make sure that those elements of understanding and not being so critical and tearing each other apart, or putting that projection of perfection on each other, because it's gonna, be kind of hard for that relationship to work with that. So I mean, that's just my opinion. That's just me. But you may have other astrologers that may, and of course it's case by case, guys. It's case by case. So if you are with, if you're with a Virgo, if you are a Virgo and you're with a Virgo, I'm not saying that it can't work with you guys, but just make sure that you're not projecting your fears and your worries and your idea of perfection onto your Virgo mate, because that other person, naturally being a Virgo, is going to be more susceptible to being taking that and being like, wow, I do need to lose this. Maybe I do need to lose this weight, or I do need to do this, or I do need to do that. And it's already competing with the voices that are already in their head for the critical nature that Virgo has of itself anyway, that chasing perfection. Awesome. Oh my gosh, congratulations. Apparently you guys are doing something right. Still competition. Okay, I got you. That's beautiful. And that, my friends, is like, that's the long-term relationship. That's the goal. That's the goal of what I want to share with people, is to let you know that, you can work with whatever sign, just as long as you know the science of how people think. I mean, astrology is a wonderful tool to use that, and to kind of get into, just a scientific approach of looking at how, if two people are compatible, and even if they have struggles, how they can work through those struggles. Because I just refuse to believe that just because one person's sign is this and another person's sign is that that they can't work. I just refuse to believe that. If you do the research, and if you open yourself up to learn about new things, like astrology, and having someone to kind of show you, after looking at you guys' natal charts, to show you where the difficulties are gonna lie, you can, like, 25 years of marriage right there. But yeah, so don't criticize, uplift. Thank you, and so are you. So don't criticize, uplift your Virgo. Virgo is naturally their own biggest critic, guys, constantly wanting to perfect, constantly wanting to get the details right. They want to make sure that the big picture turns out right. So a lot of times in relationships, like I said, you don't want to project that onto Virgo, because Virgo is already in their own headspace, kind of picking things apart with themselves, and wanting to, like I said, this is a self-disciplined sign. You don't have to tell Virgo to, get this done or get that done, because they're already in their mind preparing themselves for anything and everything. So you want to make sure that you're uplifting them, make sure you're nourishing them, make sure you're helping to ease that anxiety by being an uplifter, a motivator, and an encourager to your Virgo. And if you see them begin to start overthinking, just in love, make sure that you let them know that, hey, baby, you were beautiful the first time that you tried the first dress on. Like, you don't have to, it's nothing that you have to prove to anybody, or to, your husband or boyfriend. Babe, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You are gorgeous. You did a great job, at work, or you're this or you're that. So really affirming Virgo, so that they don't go into that anxiety. That anxiety doesn't get the best of them, because they are naturally prone to be anxious, to be angsty, because of that search of perfection. All right, so the next thing that I have is to be prepared to wait. Be prepared to wait. Virgo is not a sign that's going to jump into anything. Virgo is not going to jump in. Virgo is going to, again, what we like to say, check the receipts. Virgo likes to check the receipts. Virgo likes to take its time. Now, and Virgos are actually really, really big flirts as well. They can be very flirtatious. They will flirt. If they like you, they will flirt with you. They will flirt with you. But they will make you wait. They're not going to just jump into a situation or relationship with anybody, much less a lifelong commitment. So if you're dating a Virgo and you're interested, or if you're interested in a Virgo, specifically for like a lifelong commitment, if you're thinking about marriage or something like that with a Virgo, don't be discouraged because you're having to wait. Maybe you've already proposed to your Virgo and they weren't ready, or they told you they needed more time. That's a good thing, okay? Because a Virgo is not going to tell you later if the answer is no. They're just going to say no. So if they're telling you later, that just means that, just give me a little bit more time so I can just make sure that I'm, ready for this. And once they're in it with you, they're in it with you. So you don't have to question it once they do give you the green light. I have to literally grab a Snickers because Virgo has to be sure before any commitment, much less a lifelong one. So yeah, just be patient. You have to be a patient lover. You have to be a very patient and stable person to be with a Virgo, because they're going to take their time. And again, going back to the example that I gave you guys of Beyonce, I think she and Jay-Z dated for 6 or 7 years before they got married. So I mean, they're not going to rush, and that's typical Virgo. They're not going to rush into anything. So just grab that Snickers and just wait. Just be patient. It's gonna be worth the wait. And then the last thing that I have is to be reliable. Be reliable. Earth signs need reliable partners. That's typical of all earth signs. They need people that they can depend on. They don't like constant changing, 1 week you're this, another week you're that, you're going here, you want to move, you want to do this, you want to change that, you want to redecorate the house this month. Earth signs don't like that. They like consistency. They need consistency to ease the anxiety that they are prone to having when they are taken out of their element. If you take an earth sign out of their element, they can become very, very anxious people. Very, very anxious people. So I have be balanced, be solid, and be consistent in your relationship with your Virgo. Don't feed the worries and constant irregularity, and reduce your Virgo to a nervous wreck. I'm gonna read that one more time. I said, don't feed the worries and constant irregularity. So you being irregular, you being inconsistent, and reduce your Virgo to a nervous wreck. So if you are an irregular person, you will reduce them to a nervous wreck. You will take all that beautiful intelligence and all that, information that they want to give you, and the abilities to, be organized and to help you to organize your life and for them to organize their life. You will throw them completely into a whirlwind and create a nervous wreck in your partner. So don't do that. And in turn, they will leave. They will leave. So be reliable, be solid, be balanced in your relationship, and be consistent above all with Virgo. Be consistent. So those were the tidbits that I have to share tonight, and it's amazing because just to have a Virgo here that's been married for 25 years, that's really awesome. And it just confirms that, just to show you guys, this is some great information for you to use in your relationships, your friendships too, because we know a friendship has to come before a relationship anyway. So so I hope that this will, and I speak that this will help you in navigating your relationships and friendships with Team Virgo. You guys have a great night, and tomorrow we will close out Earth with Capricorn. With Capricorn, I look forward to doing Capricorn. My son is actually a Capricorn, so this is gonna be really, really, really interesting. I have a lot of information to pull from because I know a Capricorn very well. A Capricorn came from my womb, so you're welcome. You're welcome. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.